What if I told you that Kenya's president is secretly arming a rebel militia that's tearing Sudan apart?
President William Ruto is meddling the affairs of Sudan, where he is siding with Hemeti, the leader of a rebel movement that is fighting the government in office.
And he is doing it for business, for profit, while thousands die. That's not me saying it. That's Kenya former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the man who was inside William Ruto's government until they kicked him out, said. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what he is alleging, why it matters, and why this could blow up into Kenya's biggest political scandal in decades.
He is having business dealings with the rebel group, where the rebel group is, bringing gold through Kenya to the Middle East, and in exchange, President William is giving them arms, to continue with the armed struggle of trying to stabilize the government. Again, there has been interference in the DRC.
Why is this credible? First, Gachagua was inside the government. He sat in cabinet meetings, he knows what happens behind closed doors, and now he has nothing to lose. So when he goes on a recorded sitting and accuses the sitting president of arms trafficking with a rebel militia in Sudan, you need to pay attention. So here is where it gets crazy. In a recent interview on Channel Africa, Gachagua said something that should be making headlines across the continent. Let me read you his exact words. President William Ruto is meddling in the affairs of Sudan, where he is siding the Hemeti, the leader of a rebel movement that is fighting the government in office, which is very, very unfortunate because he is having business dealings with the rebel group, where the group is bringing goods through Kenya to the Middle East, and in exchange, President William is giving them arms to continue with the armed struggle of trying to destabilize the government. Let me break that down because there are three massive claims in that one statement. Claim number one is the business arrangement. Gachagua is saying that the RSF, that the Rapid Support Forces, a paramilitary rebel group in Sudan led by a guy named Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, everyone calls him Hemeti. They are smuggling goods through Kenya to the Middle East.
وفشلت الحكاية والآن يعني مشينا للأسوأ.
Now you might ask, what goods? Gachagua doesn't say, but Sudan is known for gold. It has a lot of it, and the RSF control gold mines. There have been reports for years that they are smuggling gold out of Sudan to fund the war. So if Hemeti's guys are moving goods through Kenyan ports with Kenyan government approval, that's already a problem, because the RSF is not the official government of Sudan. They are rebels and they are fighting the actual government. But wait, it even gets worse. Claim number two is the weapon exchange. The goods they are smuggling, that might just be the beginning. Gachagua says that Ruto isn't just letting them move goods through Kenya, he's giving them weapons in exchange.
He is having business dealings with the rebel group, where the rebel group is, bringing gold through Kenya to the Middle East, and in exchange, President William is giving them arms, to continue with the armed struggle of trying to stabilize the government.
Arms, guns, ammunition, military equipment, whatever it takes to keep fighting. Think about that for a second. If it's true, Kenya's president is arming a militia that is actively destabilizing a neighboring country. A militia that the UN has accused of war crimes. A militia that has killed thousands of civilians. And why? For business? For profit? So that Hemeti's guys can keep smuggling goods through Kenya, and Ruto's network, whoever that is, gets a cut. And by the way, this isn't geopolitics. It isn't even diplomacy. This is blood money. Claim number three is the regional destabilization. Now let's zoom out. Sudan is already in a disaster. The RSF and the Sudanese armed forces have been fighting since April 2023. Over 15,000 people are dead. Millions have been displaced. It is one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world right now. And Kenya is supposed to be a force for peace in the region. We host peace talks. We take in refugees. We are supposed to be the good guys. But if Gachagua is right, we are not peacekeepers. We are armed dealers. We are fueling the war, and we are making it worse. Gachagua also mentioned that Ruto is backing M23 rebels in the Democratic Republic of Congo, another armed group, another destabilization effort.
Again, there has been interference in the DRC. where our government has been backing the M23, which is very, very unfortunate. We want to have a policy of non-interference with the affairs of other nations. We would want to have more interaction with our sister countries on matters of trade and commerce.
So you can see the pattern here. Ruto's foreign policy isn't about stability, it's about business. And if there is money to be made, he's already in. So let's talk about the allegation. The question is, should we believe it? And let's be honest, Gachagua is a politician. He was a deputy president. He sat in the National Security Council meeting. He knows what's happening at the border. He knows what deals are being made. And this isn't an outsider guessing. This is an insider talking. I know what you're thinking. Where is the proof? Hold on, because the patterns are impossible to ignore. Let's look at the patterns. Pattern number 1, Kenya's foreign policy shift. Ruto has been weirdly quiet about Sudan. He hasn't even condemned the RSF. He hasn't supported the official government. He is playing both sides. Why? Most African leaders have taken a clear stance. Ruto hasn't. And that silence, it raises a lot of questions. Pattern number 2, unexplained wealth and deals. We know Ruto has business interest everywhere. We know his wealth doesn't match his government salary. We have covered that before on this channel. So, is it so hard to believe that he'd cut a deal with a rebel group if it's profitable, especially when no one is watching? Pattern number 3, other allegations. Gachagua isn't the first person to say Ruto is involved in shady foreign deals. There have been whispers, rumors and reports before. So, think about this. Where there is smoke, there is usually fire. And remember, Gachagua also said Ruto is backing M23 in Congo. That's 2 different conflicts, 2 different rebel groups. And if both are true, this isn't a one-time mistake, it is a pattern. Now before you click away thinking this is just about politics, let me show you why this could land Ruto at The Hague. The legal consequences is that arms trafficking is a crime. Under international law, under Kenyan law, if there's proof that Ruto is arming the RSF, he could be charged. The ICC prosecutes leaders who fuel wars, who enable war crimes. If the RSF commits atrocities with Kenyan weapons, Ruto could be held accountable. Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, is in prison right now for arming rebels in Sierra Leone. Same playbook, same crime. And by the way, if Kenya is fueling the Sudan war, we are making East Africa less safe. More refugees will flood into Kenya and more instability at our borders, more terrorism risk. The longer the war in Sudan goes on, the worse it gets for everyone, including us.
You know, instability in southern Sudan, instability in Somalia, instability in Ethiopia affects our own security in the country. That is why we have a lot of refugees who have come from Ethiopia, from Somalia, from Sudan, here into Kenya.
Kenya is also supposed to be a regional leader, a peacemaker. If you are exposed as an arms dealer, our credibility is gone. No one will trust us, and no one will work with us. And here at home, if Kenyans believe this, Ruto is finished. You can survive corruption scandals, you can survive economic mismanagement, but arming rebels, fueling a war, and profiting from death, that's a different level, and that's unforgivable. Now let's flip it. What if Gachagua is lying? What if this is just a political revenge? Then the question is, why would he lie about something this specific? Why not just accuse Ruto of corruption or incompetence? Why go nuclear with arms trafficking allegations? Because if he is lying and Ruto can prove it, Gachagua is done, finished. He'll lose all credibility. So why take that risk unless he knows something? And that is what makes this so compelling. The stakes are too high for this to just be a political theater. So here's my question for you. Do you believe Gachagua? Is Ruto really arming Hemeti RSF? Or is this just a bitter ex-deputy president settling scores? But what we do know is this. Gachagua was inside the government. He knows things we don't. And he is willing to go on record with allegations that could destroy Ruto. So I'm asking you, drop a comment below. Tell me what you think. Is this real? Is this the scandal that finally brings Ruto down? Or is Gachagua just playing politics? And if you found this video valuable, share it. Send it to someone who needs to see it, because mainstream media isn't covering this way the way they should. and at some point later, I'll be breaking Ruto's business empire and how it connects to these foreign policy decisions. You are not going to want to miss that. For now, remember this: when a former deputy president accuses a sitting president of arms trafficking, you don't just ignore it, you investigate, and that's exactly what we are doing. This is the Diary of Africa, and I'll see you in the next one.